Hi everyone, seeing as we are in the midst of non-fiction November, I thought I would tell you about some of the non-fiction books I have acquired recently. I love non-fiction. I have committed to reading at least one non-fiction book per month, and obviously even more in non-fiction November. If you want to see my TBR for non-fiction November, I will leave that linked down below. But without further ado, let's get into the books. The first book I'm going to tell you guys about is Eat, Sweat, Play by Anna Kessel, and this is all about the role of sports in the lives of women. Anna Kessel is someone I really admire, and she's done a lot of great work with women playing sports now, but also rediscovering the women who played sports in the past and people who have made really big impacts on sport. Far fewer women than men play sport, and women's sports are severely underfunded in comparison to the male equivalent of the game. So for instance, female footballers, a lot of them are part-time. They've also got a job, which means they can't devote as much time to the game, and that means we have far fewer female sports role models. They're just not given enough attention. But this lack of representation is what means that fewer women are playing sports as just like a hobby. And so many girls who loved sports as a kid, myself included, stopped playing when they hit puberty. One of my biggest regrets in life is that shift from me doing like 3 sports to doing none, to thinking I was physically incapable, to thinking I'll never be as good as the boys, so why should I bother? In my teens, I was convinced I couldn't do sports. I was convinced I was massively unfit and had no skill, and when I look back at my childhood, that is not the case. I was so fit and I was really good at the sports I played. This book is all about women's relationships to sports, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Next up I have Periods Gone Public by Jennifer Weiss-Wolf. Do you ever just encounter a book and you're like, this was made for me? I didn't know I needed this in my life, but now that it's here, I'm so happy. I love talking about periods. It's one of my favourite things to talk about. I find them fascinating. I think that individuals that have a menstrual cycle are incredible. I'm really interested in menstrual care and our societal attitudes towards menstruation, and this book is all about that. It is about what society thinks about periods. It is about the tampon tax. It is about the taboo of periods. People are losing their shit because Body Form have started using red blood in their adverts as opposed to that weird blue shit. Why is that such a big deal? So yeah, this book is all about the normalization of periods. It is about the finances around periods. It's just a big old book about periods, and I am so there for it. Next up I have Riot Days by Maria Aliokhina. You may not know this woman's name, but when you find out what she has done in the past, I'm sure it will ring some bells. Maria was one of the members of Pussy Riot. This book tells the story of her trial and imprisonment. It is about her activism and her fight for freedom. I'm very into learning about Pussy Riot. I think this is going to be a fascinating read, and it's going to really help me understand these circumstances, the very difficult circumstances that many people throughout the globe have to go through. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. The next non-fiction book I'm going to tell you about is This Book Will Help You Change the World by Sue Torton. Sue Torton is a journalist, and this book has a lot of different contributions from many different kinds of people, but it's all about political activism and changing the status quo. I'm relatively politically engaged, I think. I think I'm more politically engaged than most people my age, but the people I hang out with are usually extremely political engaged. So yeah, this is just a little political book about all those different things, about activism, about political parties, and I believe it also features some really good illustrations as well. The next book I have is You Do You by Sarah Knight, and you may know her for her other works like The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck and Get Your Shit Together. This book is about putting what you want first. It's about taking care of yourself, giving yourself what you want, what you need, what you deserve. This book also looks at why it is pointless trying to be perfect, and I imagine it follows in a similar vein from her previous non-fiction books. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this one is like as well. The next book I have is Light to the Dark by Jo Fassler, but this also features contributions from so many writers. This is a book about creativity and inspiration and the artistic process. There are so many fantastic writers included in this. We have Stephen King, Elizabeth Gilbert, Amy Tan, Roxane Gay, Neil Gaiman, so many amazing names. So yeah, something I've spoken about briefly recently is how now that I don't have a creative writing degree to work towards, I don't have certain dates that things need to be written by, I'm not writing as much. And also, a lot of my creative energy is going into YouTube as opposed to writing. I'm really tired a lot of the time lately because of my new job. So I'm not having as much creative writing time. And hopefully this book will help jumpstart me back into that. The final non-fiction book I'm going to talk to you about is Secrets for the Mad by Dodie Clark. You may know Dodie Clark as a musician and YouTuber. Dodie is one of my favourite creators here on YouTube. And I believe this book is just a collection of little bits of her writing. Dodie has also spoken very publicly about her mental health struggles in the past, so I reckon some of that will be in this book as well. I'm not really sure what to expect from this. Like, I'm not sure how much kind of like literary merit is going to be in this, but Dodie is a really incredible songwriter, and she has a really strong ability to put feelings into words. So I'm really looking forward to jumping into this one and seeing what it's like. So they are all the non-fiction books that I'm going to talk about today. Do let me know down below if you've read any of these or if your interest has been piqued in any of them. That's all for me today, but I hope you're all well and I will talk to you guys in my next video.